What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. And happy transfer deadline day, people, or as Arsenal call it, Thursday. Nothing is happening, nothing to get excited about. Usually it's Shaw Sports News, triple stream, and we're hoping that Arsenal make a big signing, but nothing is happening, people. We are where we are. The squad we've got is the squad we're going to have until the end of the season. Um, which is disappointing because, I think 99% of Arsenal fans are sitting there going, we need a striker, or we could do with some added strength in depth in other areas of the team. But we spent big in the summer, and unfortunately, due to this profit and sustainability thing, we can't go again in January. So, the message sort of is handle your money better in the summer and then you won't have this situation. I don't think Manchester City are sitting there right now going, we need a player in a particular position. I don't think there's Liverpool fans sitting there panicking that they need something else as well. So, it's disappointing. If we'd have done our business better in the summer, then we wouldn't be in this position. But we are where we are. We're going to have to deal with it and see where it takes us. I suppose from a fan's point of view, we've just got to basically, hope that we can do something in the Champions League or in the Premier League with what we've got. So it's an interesting one. We got a few rumours going around. We got a lot to discuss, that is for sure, but nothing is actually concrete and happening. So unfortunately, no big signings. Robbie won't be dancing around the Emirates like the Thomas Partey signing and things like that. So a few things to talk about. We'll get into it. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. And what I will say is it's funny because the transfer window is about to close 11 p.m. tonight. You're probably going to hear more Arsenal transfer news over the next month or so than you heard in the actual month where the transfer window was open, because a similar thing happened last year. LSU, the Yankees hat on, not the LA one. Big up to you. Because this is what happened last year. We didn't get Caicedo and Mudryk. Then they started talking about, Declan Rice and Zubomendi and trying to calm the fan base down for what was going to happen in the summer. So, listen, a few things to talk about today. Did you guys watch Liverpool last night, man? I mean, listen, two things to take out of that game. In fact, three things. Number one, how bad are Chelsea considering they've spent £1 billion? To spend £1 billion and look like that is unbelievable. They are terrible. They look like a team on FIFA with no chemistry. It looks like 11 strangers that don't know each other. Number two, if Darwin Núñez could hit the back of the net, I genuinely think you'd be talking about one of the best strikers in the world. Like, honestly, his movement, his pace, his strength, his aggression, he's got everything apart from the ability to finish. He would be world class if he could finish. And I don't want to criticise him too much because knowing Arsenal, it will look like Prime R9 on Sunday. But, I think he hit the crossbar and the post 3 or 4 times, missed a penalty. But he's an absolute chaos merchant. You'd hate to mark him. And then third, how good are Liverpool? Like plain and simple. How good are Liverpool? Finished outside of the top 4 last year. This year, they're in for 4 trophies. I've never once heard Jurgen Klopp talk about bigger fish to fry, or we want to go out of the Carabao Cup to concentrate on something else. No, you're a big club, you've spent a lot of money, and you're able to go for multiple trophies. That's what I want to hear and see from the manager. Also, as you said, man, how good did that Connor Bradley look? I think he's 18, 19, something like that. Northern Ireland International. They didn't even miss Trent. But listen, we've got to beat them on Sunday. Having said all that, we've got to beat them. People were messaging me yesterday, would you take a draw against Liverpool? I said, no. If it was at Anfield, take a point every single day of the week and get back home. At the Emirates, in a title race, when you threw away points against Fulham and West Ham, you've got to beat Liverpool on Sunday. And that's where I stand on it. If we draw that game, I will be very disappointed, despite how good they look. It's at our house. We got to do the business. Oh, Bradley's 20, but what a player. Absolute quality player. But we've still got to go for that Liverpool team. Mo Salah won't be playing. He's their best attacking player. And as good as Núñez, Jota and Diaz are, none of those three, in my opinion, are world-class players. You know, Jota's got a great record against Arsenal. Núñez is a chaos merchant. Diaz is picking up form. But this ain't Firmino, Salah and Mane. You know, we need to beat that Liverpool team and go for them on Sunday. It's as simple as that. But listen, it'll be a tough game. Uncle Woobap said, I'll take a point. He always says, would you take a point? I wouldn't. I think we've got to beat them. Jota isn't world-class. He's not. Not for me, anyway. Not in my opinion. I don't think he's done enough to be world-class. He's a fantastic finisher, though. Latte said, all right, well, we got Eddie. Yeah, there you go. Eddie will be the one if Jesus comes out. And SG said, will Robbie do a worm dance if we sign a player? Maybe. You know, maybe he will. But I don't think there'll be anyone signed to make him do that dance. So, no, unfortunately not, SG. Big up yourself. Big up Robbie. Rumour of the day. And we'll discuss it. And this is going to cause... how should we say? It will definitely spark some interest. Whether you want this interest or not is another thing. Now, Arsenal being linked with a summer move... Prepare for it. If you're not looking at the screen, if you're looking at the screen, you already know. But if not, brace yourself. Arsenal being linked with a summer move for Manchester United's Marcus Rashford. Wow. Sam Bond says, end the stream. Now, I'll say this now that this story's out there, right? And I never want to act wise after the event or... start acting like an ITK. But I was told a few months ago, I think I mentioned this actually on a stream, but I was told a few months ago that Marcus Rashford would be open to leaving Manchester United because of his relationship with Ten Hag. Don't take this as gospel truth. This is what I was said, and it was from a good source, but we'll see. Now, the reason being was Rasmus Højlund and Erik Ten Hag have the same agent. And what I was told was he basically wants to build his attack around Højlund. He doesn't want Rashford to be the main man in that front line. Remember, Rashford scored 30 goals in all competition last season. So Rashford was kind of going, I am the main man. It's not Højlund. It ain't Anthony. It ain't Sancho. I'm the main man. And there was rumours that Rashford was sort of pushing for a move out. And it seems as if now Rashford is open and Manchester United could be open. Now, I think the feeling was, as with the Sancho situation, was that maybe Ten Hag gets the sack and this situation plays itself out. But Ten Hag apparently has had the backing of the new owners and they've said, listen, you're the man to lead them forward. So now Rashford is being linked with a move to Arsenal this summer, which is interesting. Very interesting. And I can see in the comments, majority of you are saying, no, I understand it. You look at Marcus Rashford this season, 4 goals in the Premier League. He's just been done partying in Ireland. He seems as if his focus is not fully where it needs to be. However, 30 goals in all competition last season is not to be, you can't turn your nose up at that. 8 assists and 30 goals in all competition. 17 in the Premier League, 5 assists. It's more than Saka, it's more than Martinelli, it's more than Jesus, it's more than anybody in the Arsenal front line last season. And people are on to me because they're saying Curtis is Rashford's lawyer. Anybody who hasn't watched this show for a long time will know Rashford is a player that I've always rated. I've always rated him. Like, genuinely, this ain't me shamelessly saying I've always rated a player. I've always rated Rashford. He's a little bit like Martinelli to me in that I think there's an immaturity about his game. And that's the problem. I mean, you wouldn't believe if I told you Marcus Rashford is 26 years of age. He turns 27 this October. I think when we talk about Rashford, we have this mindset that Rashford is 21, 22 years of age. And that's the problem. But I can't, I'll be honest with you people. I like Rashford. I do like Rashford. Now, I'll tell you the problem with Rashford. He's inconsistent. He plays sometimes a little bit selfish. His decision-making is not very good. But I think he needs a coach. I've said for a long time he needs a better coach. Now, I'm going to put a poll up because I just want to see where some of you are at with this. One thing that I've always said is interesting about Arsenal when you look at the details, right? Look at the details. We've got Gabriel Martinelli, who is a Brazilian international, highly rated, blah, blah, blah. But we were trying to buy Mudryk for £80 million. So I've always said, is Mikel Arteta convinced by Gabriel Martinelli? Would you take Rashford this summer? Now, there's no talk of the price, but I would imagine he would be big, big money. That's another problem. How much is he going to cost? And also, he's going to want at least 300 grand a week, which is what he's on now. So it's a very expensive and very risky deal. Where do you play Rashford? Do you play him left wing? Do you play him through the middle? Do you rotate him in both positions? I think the question you've really got to ask yourself is Marcus Rashford good enough to get into the Arsenal starting 11? That's the question. Is Marcus Rashford good enough to get into the starting 11? And by that, I think you've got to judge him off the fact that he's been a left winger for the last 3 or 4 years. That's his position. Is Rashford better than Martinelli? Is the question. Is Rashford better than Martinelli? Is Rashford better than Trossard? I think you'd take Rashford over Trossard because of the goals, the pace. When he's on form, 100%. Definitely. But there's something not right with him. He makes 325k a week, boss, with bonuses. 375 is all yours. And Chris is a Man United fan. Martinelli tracks back. Somebody just said, yeah, Rashford has become terribly lazy. He's better than Eddie. Well, you're better than Eddie. Tactics. He's not an Arsenal type of player. He can't pass. Let's see what he's saying. Martinelli's ceiling is higher. He's not better than Martinelli in a million years. Would rather Gabby running into a wall than Rashford. Wouldn't mind him down the middle. I mean, I really, listen, I'll be honest. I'm being a little bit, how can I put it? What's the right thing here? I'm trying to open the debate up a little bit. Because if we wanted to speak about some facts, and I'm not saying this makes him better, but he scored 30 goals in all competition last season. We've never seen Saka or Martinelli score 30 goals in all competition. So my question sort of is, on what basis are we saying Martinelli is better than Marcus Rashford? I'm just putting it out there. I know I'm being a bit naughty here, and I have been Rashford's lawyer at times. I have. But on what basis can Martinelli say, I'm a better footballer than you? What makes him better than Rashford? Because I wonder, why did the manager want Mudryk so much if he thinks Martinelli is the finished article? I've never seen Gabriel Martinelli score 30 goals in all competition. I've never seen Saka do it. And I hear you, Martinelli does work hard. But let's be honest, Martinelli, like somebody just said in the comments, Rashford was brilliant last season. This season, he stinks. I agree with that. But you could say exactly the same thing about Martinelli this season, bro. If I'm keeping it 100, Martinelli's got, what, 4 goals this season? Rashford's got 4 goals. But listen, I get it. I don't think Arsenal will sign Rashford. Honestly, I don't think they will. I don't think they will. I mean, Brian's saying I would play him up front. Would I play him up front? Nelly is 22, Rashford is 26. Pep or Klopp wouldn't touch Rash. He doesn't even press from the front. Fitz said Rashford can take a free kick at goal, and currently we have no one that can do that. Don Carlo said he always goes on purple patches. Curtis, you're crazy for wanting him. He's crap. I think crap is an exaggeration. He's not crap. We can't go that far. He's having a crap season, though, I agree. Listen, I'm trying to spark some debate. It's a story that's out there today. I haven't made this up. Arsenal are genuinely being linked with a summer move for Rashford. Can play on the left, can play through the middle. I think everybody would agree he needs a new challenge from Manchester United. South London's fine. He said, Martinelli is not better, but his ceiling is higher. Name me a standout moment from Rashford. Yeah, it's fair. I mean, I can't think of too many, but Rashford is a better finisher. He's got private problems now after a relationship ended with his girl. I think he's trying to live that high life before he's reached it. He's acting like Mbappe off the pitch, but you're not acting like Mbappe on the pitch, you know? And that's the problem. He would be another Havertz. He wouldn't, man. Come on. He's not as bad as Havertz. Never in a million years. Rashford would improve Arsenal. Rashford was class in the Champions League. I like the debate. I'm glad there's a debate there. I'll be honest. In my opinion, Arsenal are not signing Rashford. The wages are too high. The transfer fee would be too high. There's no definite... If you looked at Arsenal's team now and you got a couple 100 million to spend in the summer, a left winger is definitely not a priority signing. Rashford, I reckon, would cost you 100 million. So that's half your transfer budget gone already, and we desperately need a striker, probably another centre mid, maybe two. So I don't expect Rashford to come to Arsenal. But I don't buy into the thing that he's just rubbish and he's nowhere near as good as what we've got. Because our wingers have never put up those numbers he put up last season. But obviously there's no consistency. I don't think it's going to happen. It might just be newspaper articles clutching at straws. But I like the debate. And I have been a bit of a Rashford lawyer in the past. But no, listen, our focus should be on a striker. That's for sure. Southern Gooner, big up yourself, Matt. He said, Sunday will be like when you come and have a bad report card. Pain. That Rashford signing is right out of the Arteta playbook. It wouldn't surprise you, would it? It wouldn't surprise you. No to Rashford and Simpson, or Bart Simpson on that left-hand side, yeah. It is true. Listen, with Rashford's work rate or lack of work rate, and then that inverted left back behind him, our left-hand side would get taken to the cleaners. Imagine Salah and Trent against a Rashford jogging back and Zinchenko with no defensive awareness. We'd get cut to pieces. Jonathan said, is Rashford better than Martinelli? Simple answer, yes, he is. But the gap is not large enough to justify the financial cost and the cost displacing Martinelli would have on the team. Havertz, Partey. And I agree with that to a certain extent. I think at this stage, Rashford's done more in his career than Martinelli. He's scored in World Cups. Scored in the Euros, scored against Barcelona in the Champions League, scored against PSG. He's had far bigger moments in his career than Martinelli has. However, you're not going to spend 80, 90, 100 million to get a guy that's in a similar category as Martinelli, when Martinelli, you feel, has the potential to grow more than Rashford, and he works a lot harder. So I do agree with that. I don't think there's any need for Arsenal to persist with this deal. However, this is Arsenal Football Club. This is Arsenal Football Club. If I sat here 12 months ago and said to you, Arsenal are being linked with Kai Havertz for £65 million, imagine what that poll would have looked like that I've put up now, people. Imagine what the comments would look like. Why the hell do we want Havertz? He's rubbish. Odegaard's better. Emile Smith-Rowe's better. We'd all be saying that. Guess what? 6 months later, Kai Havertz was holding up the 29 shirt with an Arsenal badge on the front of it. So what I'm saying is, don't be surprised. This is Arsenal Football Club. We signed Willian. We signed Jorginho. We signed Kai Havertz. Do not underestimate the power of Edu and Mikel Arteta. Because if they signed Rashford, they would justify the hell out of that signing. England international, Man United, pace, goals. You know how the PR would dress that signing up. So, yeah, anyway. I don't think it will happen, though. But I'm just saying, this is Arsenal. Don't ever be surprised. Let me end the poll. Let me see what you guys are saying. It's quite divided. I think the majority of you... Oh, it's closer than I thought. It's a lot closer than I thought. 59% of you are saying no. 41% of you are saying yes, you would take him. The things that I like about Rashford is the direct running, the pace and the shots. You will never sit here and say, oh, Rashford don't shoot enough. If anything, he shoots too much. He knuckleballs it from everywhere. But I don't think it will happen. But an interesting one. Definitely an interesting one. English tax shout out E. Ross. English tax E. Ross, man. There'll be all sorts over it. If it don't make sense, Arsenal will do it. Yeah, it was if it makes sense, Arsenal won't do it. If it don't make sense, they probably will do it. But interesting. I do think there'll be a situation in the summer. If Ten Hag stays at Man United, I think Rashford will be linked with moves away. Maybe he goes to PSG. They were linked with him last year. Especially if Mbappe was to go to Madrid. Anyway, let's continue with Arsenal. And we're only talking about transfer links because let's face it, we ain't signing nobody, people. So all I've got for you today is links and possibilities. Let's talk about somebody who is staying at the football club, and this is definite. And that is Petrol Station Cedric. Brown envelope signing, in my opinion. But Arsenal fans accept it. On his way to being released by Southampton, he finds himself on a 4-year contract at Arsenal on £75,000 a week. And I still don't know how he got that deal. And I don't know how he stayed at the club for all of that contract. Now, he did look like he was going to sign for Galatasaray. But Chris Wheatley's put out an exclusive this morning. Cedric Soares will stay at Arsenal until his contract expires this summer. Several Turkish teams showed interest in January window, but a move didn't come to fruition. Now, I'm thinking, and I could be playing devil's advocate here. I wonder if Arteta has decided to keep him rather than the deal not happening. Because why would the deal not happen? The window is open till the 9th of February in Turkey. So you've still got 8 days to get that deal done. Apparently we wanted £2 million for him, which I'm sure Galatasaray, a big club, could pay £2 million. They offered him a 2.5-year deal. Why would he not want the deal? He doesn't kick a ball at Arsenal. I wonder if Arteta, remember what Arteta said at the beginning of the window? We want a versatile defender to give us cover until the summer. Here you go, people. What is it? What's that, brother? KB Lame or something? You know when he does the thing? There you have it, people. Welcome to your January versatile defender signing for Arsenal. As Arsene Wenger used to say, he would be like a new signing. This is your new signing, people. Happy February the 1st. Cedric Soares is the versatile defender that offers cover that Mikel Arteta said we were going for. Here he is. Cedric Soares, people. He'll be like a new signing. He can play left back, right back. Do you know Cedric was in the Portuguese squad that won the Euros? He was there. That's how they'll justify it. Premier League experience, Euros winner, versatile, left back, left foot, right foot. Petrol Station Cedric. Here you have it, people. Who knew? 2 signings we've made in this window. Do you want me to tell you their names? Cedric Soares, there's your versatile defender. The second one, Thomas Partey, there's your defensive midfielder, people. Facts only. Facts only, people. That's our 2 signings. They might as well bring them out and do an announcement video. They're back. Cedric and Thomas Partey, that is our transfer window. Somebody said it's an elite moustache. Let's have a look. It's not bad. It's not bad. Look at the smirk on his face. He's thinking, how the hell am I still at Arsenal picking up 75 grand a week? 75,000 English pounds for Cedric Soares, who was getting released by Southampton. So there you go. That's your deadline day signing, people. Cedric Soares. Oh dear, listen, it's crazy. Rob Holding settings. Nobody can believe they're still at the club. I bet he trains well. I bet any money on it. Cedric will be an elite trainer. Absolutely elite trainer. I bet in training, he turns up early, he picks up cones, he fills up bottles. Him, El Neni, Rob Holding and Ketia, I bet you they are the best trainers at this football club. That's how they stay there. That's how they survive, people. Oh, he's a good squad player. That's what they said about Rob Holding for years. Palace are trying to release him from his contract. But hey, here's what it is. Cedric Soares. Prepare for him to get game time at Arsenal, people, between now and the end of the season. Somebody else that's on their way out on this deadline day, people. I want to offer you all some inspiration. I like inspiring the community, information and entertainment. So this is the inspiration for everybody today. The worst goalkeeper in Premier League history. Well, certainly, in my opinion, the worst goalkeeper in the history of Arsenal Football Club. Some of you may be older than me. You might have seen worse. But to this day, I have not seen a goalkeeper as bad as this. In fact, I genuinely have to question how this guy made it at the top level. Arsenal will terminate the contract of goalkeeper Alex Runarsson with immediate effect. Cutting his loan with Cardiff City short, Runarsson will now join Copenhagen on a permanent deal. Now, yeah, we don't talk about Almunia on this channel. We will never truly recover from what Almunia did on that famous night in Paris in the Champions League final. So I try not to mention him. Apologies for even saying his name. But after him, this guy. Now, I've got one question for everyone. As you said, another one. DJ Khaled. I don't know if I'm going crazy here, people, but how about I just put this out there? Just for, just for discussion on transfer deadline day. Copenhagen, a Champions League club, by the way, who qualified ahead of Manchester United in their Champions League group. Copenhagen. They want Alex Runarsson. They are signing him today. He's our player. He's on a contract. Now, surely Edu Gaspar, who I met in LA, cool guy. Maybe personally, we could be friends. But I'm looking at you from a footballing point of view. In fact, I wouldn't want to be friends. I've seen he's putting toes in. We won't even talk about all that. Copenhagen want Runarsson. Why have we not got some money for him? That's just my simple question. We've got a player. They want to buy him. Why don't we sell them to him? Instead, we terminate his contract, which means we pay him to leave. Because that's what happens. 6 months left on his deal, 45 grand a week. They'll say, right, this is how much wages you've got left, but we'll agree on this. So they're going to write a check for Alex Runarsson. Probably a few $100,000. He's then going to sign for Copenhagen and play for a Champions League club. I don't know how. One of the worst players I've ever seen. But we're paying him to leave to go and join them for free. Make it make sense. Do we not accept cash at Arsenal? You know, you go into some shops, they go, we don't accept cash anymore. It's card only. They don't take card. They don't take cash. They don't take checks. They don't take crypto. No layaway, no Klarna, no nothing. Just take it. Walk in, pick it up, and get out of there. You can have anything. Yo, Barca, you need an Aubameyang? There you go. Take it for free, bro. Yo, you need a Socrates? Take it. Juve, you want Aaron Ramsey? All yours. Even Runarsson, what, 500 grand? Champions League club? 700 grand? Give us 100 grand, something. Cash money. These don't want no cash money, but I don't understand it. How does business work when you buy high and sell low? How is that ever going to work? We turn up at Chelsea, go rumbling through their recycling bins. Oh, look, a Havertz. I'll give you 65 million for this. And then when we got players that people actually want, we don't sell them. Yeah, you're not going to get a groundbreaking amount of money for him. Of course you're not. He's trash. Facts. He's rubbish. But get me 500 grand and a 10% sell-on clause. Who knows what happens in the future? It does not make sense. When Edu got the job as sporting director, I said, yo, wait until these Brazilians start coming to Arsenal. We're getting the next Vinicius Jr. We're getting the next Rodrigo. We're getting the next Casemiro or Fabinho. What have we got out of Brazil? Marquinhos. Okay, Gabriel Magalhaes, but he was from France. He was known already. I said, this guy must know every under-21 player for Brazil. He knows the Brazilian national team. Where's the Brazilian wonder kids? Why don't we have the next Neymar, the next Vinicius, the next Thiago Silva? Instead, you're bringing me Marquinhos, who cries when he scores a goal because he can't believe it. I don't want to see my player crying when he scores a goal. I want to see him saying, yeah, man, this is what I'm about. I don't understand it. But Alex Runarsson, listen, I always say, if Alex Runarsson can become a professional footballer on £45,000 a week, anything can happen in your life, people. Go for it. Because he is trash. And I'll say it. He is terrible. So, yeah, I don't understand. I don't get it. They want our players. We don't sell them. We give them away. Palace want Eddie Nketiah. Now we'll reject that. We'll keep him. What are you keeping him for? Oh, the title running. What, you think he's going to score goals to keep you in a title race? Okay. Oh, yeah, but he trains well. He's doing interviews on podcasts talking about his time at Chelsea as a youngster. 5-year contract, number 14. It's absolutely crazy. But anyway, let's move on. If Ninja Turtle joins Madrid, we apparently can go for Vinny. Listen, I mean, you've called yourself LOL and, you know, that comment probably deserves a laugh out loud as well. I don't know if you're talking about, I'm assuming you're talking about Vinicius Jr. If you think Vinicius Jr. is coming to Arsenal Football Club, then I want to know what you've been drinking. That's what I want to know. The only way he's coming to Arsenal is if Real Madrid get drawn against Arsenal in the Champions League. Don't start going down that thought process. But we might get Vinicius from Fulham, who used to play for Tottenham, that striker. But Vinicius Jr. ain't coming to Arsenal, by the way. So, yeah, I like your optimism, though. You know, I've been there. I was in the press conference. Mikel, how about Kylian Mbappe? You saw the way that question got shot down real quick. So, yeah, it is what it is. Let me read out these super chats. I hope you can't hear that washing machine. It's going absolutely crazy in the background. I might have to pause that in a second because it's going mad. Kamal said, too many dead players. Happy to hold bench here. Shaking my head. RSPCA, man. Stray dogs, we rescue them. Rashford could be the next one. Highly wanted. He can't believe his own luck. Yeah, Cedric. Marco said, Cedric holding. He'll get a new 4-year contract. Imagine if Cedric gets a new deal. And Jorginho and El Neni. All out of contract this summer. Highly Wanted said, Arsenal work with agents, not scouts. That's bang on. Seems to be the way, especially since Edu's been running the show. You've got an agenda, Hale End talent. Hale End, eh? Hale End. They always talk about Hale End at Arsenal, don't they? But who's the last young player we bought through? What young player has really been brought through since Mikel Arteta has been the manager? Yeah, listen, I have to give him some credit. Of course, he has helped to nurture Bukayo Saka and, you know, Emile Smith-Rowe and these guys. But these guys had already got through the door. You know, he hasn't brought them out of the youth team and said, here, I'll have a look at these guys. When you talk about Nwaneri, when's the last time Nwaneri played for Arsenal in the first team? He hadn't had a kick. I'm watching Liverpool last night. Bradley at right back looks outstanding. You got Elliott who's come through. Jones has come through. Clark came on last night. Trent was given his debut by Jurgen Klopp. So, you know, and they've won more than us. So we always hear about Hale End. Oh, Hale End's unbelievable. What's Hale End produced in the last few years? And if they have produced them, they haven't been given the opportunity. So, but anyway, let's move on. Couple other stories to talk about. It's deadline day, people. Be excited, as Josh said. Or as Arsenal call it, Thursday. In fact, the biggest transfer of the day is Lewis Hamilton going to Ferrari, which is unbelievable if you're a Formula One fan. I'm actually delighted with that. But yeah, in terms of football, Lambert says, Arsenal have won 5 league titles in 50 plus years. Where does this entitlement come from? I'll tell you where it comes from. Ultimately, it's difficult as a fan to really discuss what happened before your own time, right? So you're talking about 50 years, but I'm not 50 years of age, so I can't talk really factually about what happened before I was watching the club. I grew up watching Arsenal win doubles, win titles, get to Champions League semi-finals, get to Champions League finals. So that's where my entitlement comes from. Ever since I've watched Arsenal and can really remember it, Arsenal have been at the top of the tree. They either won it or came second, most years. We had Thierry Henry, who at one stage probably the best player on the planet. Vieira, one of the best centre mids. Bergkamp, one of the best on the planet. Pires, one of the best left wingers. Ashley Cole, one of the best left backs you've ever seen. So that's where the entitlement comes from, my friend. We grew up in success. When you grew up in success, it's like being born rich. You go broke later on in life, you're going to struggle to adjust to it. So that's where it is. What happened before, people say, oh, at the end of the 70s, we were poor. I never watched it. I wasn't here at the end of the 70s. I can only go off what I saw. Arsene Wenger, liquid footballers, highly wanted saying. George Graham, great defence. Tony Adams. So that's what I'm used to. So maybe there is a sense of entitlement there, but I won't let the standards drop as far as I'm concerned. I'm a realist. I don't expect Arsenal to just win the Premier League every year. That's not how football works. That's why Man United went from being the best team in the country to now struggling to win titles or even get top 4. But the demand of the fans has to be that you seriously compete. When you need a striker, you sign a striker. Don't keep players at the football club that everybody can see are not good enough Nketiahs, El Nenis, Jorginhos, Rob Holding when he was here, and Cedrics and players like that. Sign players like Kai Havertz. So listen, it's a fair question, and you know, I'm not annoyed with the question. You know, it's a good question to get discussion, because people say that online. Oh, we're competing, so what are you complaining about? That's the question I get all the time from people who want to push back on my opinion. But we're competing for the title, so why are you moaning? That's what they say to me. Why are you moaning if we're competing? I say, listen, you can be in the mix, but are we really competing? As I said, I always compare it. 100-meter race. There's 8 people in that race. They're all competing for the gold medal. But in reality, it's only really probably the guy in lane 3 and lane 4 that can win that gold medal. The rest of them, they're hoping to get a personal best or nick a bronze medal. There's a reality of the situation. Now, as I keep saying, as an Arsenal fan, we're in the title race right now. Us, Liverpool, Man City are probably the 3 favourites. But we all know deep down, and I don't want to be pessimistic, we all know that City and Liverpool are ahead of Arsenal in this title race. Not just factually in the league. They're just more prepared for it. I watched Liverpool last night and I said, damn, it's going to be a long Sunday afternoon. It's going to be a long Sunday. I think we can beat Liverpool, but they're purring at the moment. They've got so many players in form at the moment. Manchester City, De Bruyne's back, Haaland's back. They're going to kick into gear now. You know what's going to happen. With Arsenal, it feels like we're hanging on, you know. I want us to be winning. I just want us to win. If this club's doing everything it can within a reasonable demand to win, I would hold my hands up and say, do you know what? You got the manager, you put the money in, you signed the right players, and it just didn't quite happen. Maybe you're still not as good as Liverpool or Man City. But my problem is, number one, why does the manager keep players at this football club who aren't good enough, who need to be moved on to make room for us to bring in better players? His talent ID has to be brought into question, because you've signed players who are nowhere near good enough to play for this football club. And you've paid big money for them. Havertz, Fabio Vieira's, these guys here, you've spent big money on them. You've then got to look at Edu and say, how come you can't get any money for players when you're selling them? Nothing sufficient. And how come you're negotiating transfers like Havertz? But maybe the manager instructed him to sign him. He can't say no. And then with the ownership, my question is always, if you're serious about the football club, you should have a top quality sporting director, a top quality manager. You shouldn't sign off the Kai Havertz deal. So, but listen, as I said, winning fixes a lot of things in football. If we beat Liverpool on Sunday, I'll be singing from the rooftops, shamelessly. But, you know, it's almost more frustrating now that we're closer to the top. When we were finishing 8th and that, you know, you just think we're miles away from winning the league. Now it feels like we're not far away, but that next hurdle that we need to overcome to win the league, it's like we're still not there yet, and that's where the frustration is. And I feel like we should be there when you look at the money we've spent and the amount of time the manager's had. Big up Nath, he said Sunday is going to be massive. Big up Big C in the community. Liverpool Arsenal, I can't wait for that watch along. LSU, when our young guys are regularly playing in the last 10 minutes, we'll build value and make some sales. Cooper said Arteta better be blaring. Mama said knock you out. LL Cool J, gotta get these to shoot the ball, get Tony to the carpet. Ivan Toney scored again last night against Tottenham. Couple games back, couple goals already. Been out for 6 months, nearly got as many league goals as Jesus already. You know, I said it all along, but we'll see what happens in the summer. Big up Cooper, who's gifted a Curtis Shaw TV membership. Appreciate that, bro. And Highly Wanted Criminal said they want Zerky Curtis, but it will happen in the summer, and the excuse will be FFP. I mean, I don't know how good that guy is, but I'm not excited if that's who they are going for as their striker in the summer. I haven't watched enough of him, but I don't want him. I don't want him at all. Tony will score more goals than Jesus this season. I would put a lot of money on that. I'll put a lot, and he's been out for 6 months. So, but, you know, let's not get into that. Edu is licking his lips. Conor Gallagher for 80 million. I'm sure we'll be back at Chelsea at some stage doing something. Arsenal must, you're right. John said it's more FFS than FFP. You're right on that one, bro. You know I don't like to curse on this channel, but yeah, we know. Anyway, couple other things to talk about before we round up, people. Basically, there was a story going around that Arsenal basically would have signed Onana in this transfer window, and that Everton were willing to sell him if Arsenal could have got the money together. Arsenal apparently made some sort of loan offer with an obligation to buy in the summer. Everton were not willing to do it. Obviously, they're in massive financial difficulty at the moment. They need cash. They were willing to let Onana go, but Arsenal couldn't get the deal done. 22 years of age, 6'5". He's a beast. I've said before, I would have took him in January. In the summer, I wouldn't have him at the top of the list. That's where I'm at with it. When we were being linked with him for the summer, I was kind of like, you know what? Under these circumstances, I would take him. In the summer, he would not be at the top of my list. When we were challenging for top 4, I was very much in favour of this transfer. If you're trying to win the league, he wouldn't be at the top of my list. I'd take Fofana from Monaco. I would take Barella. There'd be other players that I'd be looking for. I'm still not convinced he's that good on the ball. I suppose if Everton got relegated, yeah, you could get him for cheaper. Then maybe I would take him. I think we need 2 centre mids in the summer, because I would get rid of El Neni off his contract. I would get rid of Jorginho. I think there's a good chance Thomas Partey could go as well. I reckon Arsenal will probably give Jorginho a new contract just because of the way Arteta talks about him, and he will move into that sort of El Neni role of like being the 4th or 5th choice. So I think then you need a replacement for Partey, and then you need a ball player. So maybe if they got a Nana and like a Zubimendi or something like that, then maybe that's the road they'll go down. But I think Fofana at Monaco is a better player, and I think he'd be cheaper as well. I'll take Onana and Zubimendi, 100 million. Barella, Locatelli all day over Onana. Retzel said, big up Curtis, when I go mad when Arsenal are ish, I let my missus hear you kick off and then she gives me a pass. You just got to let her know why you're doing it. You know, it's the frustration. Just let her know we're in the Truman Show. You know, we were lured in by Thierry and Bergkamp, and then we had to suffer Shamak, Andre Santos and Nicholas Bentner. You know, so we've been through a lot, Arsenal fans. Let me tell you, we've got some resilience to still be here. Yeah, Onana for me is a good player. And listen, he's a beast. He's 6'5". He is a powerhouse. He is something that we lack. I just don't know if he's the guy that I would be going for. And if Everton are looking for 50, 60 million, I think you can get a better player than him for that money. Gid said Barca are in financial trouble. Go to Barca, see what they're saying about Pedri or De Jong. I think you've got absolutely no chance of getting Pedri. De Jong, maybe at some stage. He's spoken about the Premier League before. He's on big, big wages, though. Chris said the problem we all have this season is those Liverpool players are giving everything for Klopp and will for the rest of the season. Going to make them harder to beat. I agree with you, Chris. The minute Klopp put that interview out, I said this Liverpool team are going to be different. They're going to be different. This Liverpool team were rebuilding with the thought process of, can we win a league over the next year or two? I think now, once that happened, every Liverpool player said they've got to win the title this season. They've got to send Klopp out of Anfield with a title in his hands. And you could see it yesterday. It's brought that group together quicker. And listen, Sunday is the biggest game of the season for Arsenal. I think it will decide the direction of the Premier League for Arsenal this year. I think if we get beat, it's over. I think if we draw, we're still hanging on because, yeah, it's still 5 points, but I think you've missed a massive opportunity. Because the reality is, in a title race, you've got to beat the teams around you at your own stadium. You can go to their ground and nick a point. That's a great result. But if you don't beat them at home, you're struggling. We beat Man City at home. We beat Man United at home. We should have beat Tottenham at home. We've got to beat Liverpool on Sunday. We can't be scared of them. Can't be scared of them. As good as they're playing, this isn't Fabinho, Wijnaldum, Henderson, who even on paper doesn't sound great, but as a collective three, they were an incredible midfield. This isn't Mane, Firmino and Salah, what was probably the hardest front three to play against. in the Premier League. It's Núñez, Jota and Diaz. We've got to go for that Liverpool team on Sunday. We have to. Somebody just said there, actually a draw might make it extremely difficult for us. I actually want to see Arsenal gamble and roll the dice on Sunday. And by that, I kind of mean go for the win and it might cost you the draw, if you know what I mean. If Arsenal were drawing that game 1-1, I would hate to see Arsenal just sit back and say, we'll take a point. I'd rather you go all or nothing and just try and win the game. You've got to beat Liverpool. You've got to beat them. I can't wait for the game. I hear Nay saying Bradley will cut your left back. Will Bradley play though? I think Klopp will put Trent back in. As good as Bradley played yesterday, I think Trent will get the nod. It's Footy Not Soccer said, big blood clot. See, I've watched Osimhen the entire AFCON and just 1 goal, 1 assist so far, but all to play has surprised me. Worth the summer wait, Jesus right wing. Listen, I know I've not complained, but I've said a few times that Osimhen, I'm not fully convinced by him. If we get him, you watch the celebrations on this channel. I'll be saying he's world class. If he goes to Chelsea, I'll say he's an overrated Serie A player. You know, that's where I'm at. So listen, just get me Osimhen, get me Ivan Toney, get me a proper striker, and then let's build. The reality is, I think the only thing that jeopardizes Arteta's job this summer is if we miss out on top 4. Because as much as this ownership are happy to keep him in charge, they've got used to the Champions League money of this season. If we missed out on the top 4, I think that would give them a question mark. But I think we will get top 4. So I think Arteta will be here next season. And looking at it, we're going to need to be quick in the market in the summer. And 2 players, as I said, they're gonna start flinging out transfer reports everywhere now. Apparently, according to reports, these are the top 2 targets this summer for Arsenal. On the left-hand side, Zubimendi, who has a release clause of £52 million from Real Sociedad. Arsenal have a good relationship with Sociedad, having loaned out Kieran Tierney for the season. Zubimendi apparently is open to leaving this summer. He was being linked with Barcelona. Barcelona have a lot of financial problems. They've obviously got Cancelo on loan. I think they'd like to sign him. They've said they're not signing João Felix. They need a new manager. Xavi is leaving. So Zubimendi apparently is top of the list. Again, I've said many times before, don't fully know how good he is. I can't say that I've watched Real Sociedad enough. What I've seen of him, looks very talented on the ball. My concern is he looks quite small and lightweight. Could he adjust to the Premier League? I would hope that he could be a bit of a Santi Cazorla-esque player, that he's so clever on the ball that he doesn't get into a physical battle that much. Some of you have probably watched Zubimendi a lot more than me, so let me know what you think about him in the comments. He's overrated, some of you are saying, although Thompson, now we are talking. He plays more than Partey. Some of you saying Santiago Jimenez, who's having a good season in Holland. He might not be that expensive as well. Cello said he's another Fabio Vieira. TBG said he's actually good in duels. He's quite tenacious. I did see that he gets booked quite often. So that was a little bit of a... Even though you don't want to buy a player that gets booked often, it gave me a bit of hope that maybe he's got a little bit of bite about him. 24 years of age. I mean, last season he got 12 yellow cards in 36 games, and he doesn't miss many games either. I mean, 31 games in 2021, 36 in 22, 33 in 23, so he plays nearly every game. He's played 21 this year, 3 yellow cards again. And the other player is obviously Ivan Toney. We've spoken about him multiple times. Watched a bit of the game last night against Tottenham. He's horrible to play against. His hold-up plays, physical strength, you know, I've said many times that is the striker that I would buy. Isak, for me, is a very, very good player. But I've got concerns about that injury record. We consistently have injury problems. Spending 80, 90 million on a striker that's injury prone is insane for me at Arsenal, because players seem to come to Arsenal and get injured even more than they did before. So the Isak injury record worries me. I do like him a lot as a footballer. Osimhen, I like Osimhen, but I just don't know if I'm convinced enough about his all-round game to spend over 100 million, but maybe Arsenal will go for him. But I just get this impression that he's chasing the bag and that he'll end up at Chelsea or somewhere else, but I don't know. Ivan Toney's got a very good injury record. He knows the league. 20 goals last season. Come back from the ban. 2 goals in 2 games. Physical presence. He's a bully. He's got a year left. You'd get him for 60 million quid. But would Arsenal be put off by the ban and the bad PR? He's also 28 in March. Would that be too old for Arsenal to go for a striker of that age? We know that they like younger players, that their value maybe is going to get higher. I don't think Ivan Toney is a player like that. His value will obviously probably fade as he gets closer to 30. So it will be interesting. Isak, Toney, Osimhen seem to be the 3. Obviously, as I've said today at the start of the show, there's 2,000 of you now. Arsenal being heavily linked today with a move for Marcus Rashford, which is a strange one, but also it's kind of the move that wouldn't surprise you with Arsenal. A lot of you said you didn't want him, although 41% of you said on the poll you would take him. 59% said no. FFR95 said, we don't want bullies at this club, just good boys and good dogs like win. And that's my concern. I think Arsenal want a nice, well-behaved dressing room. Saka's, Odegaard's, they're nice guys. You ain't going to get no problems with them. They're not going to turn up late for training. They're not going to argue with the manager. They're going to be well behaved. Ivan Toney's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder, a bit of an ego. You can see, you listen to his interview, you know how he goes on. That's not to say he's bad in the dressing room, because you know the Brentford manager consistently sings his praises. But would Arteta want a character like that in the dressing room? Now, I said the other day, I didn't mind Ben White pulling up Zinchenko for that mistake. In fact, I was happy to see it. And the fact they squared up to each other, I actually was very happy with that. Because I'm sick of this nice guy mentality at Arsenal. You don't win titles behaving and being nice. You think Patrick Vieira was nice? That Invincibles team, they were fighting each other in the dressing room after games, pulling each other up on mistakes that they'd made. I'm glad Ben White went up to Zinchenko and said, brother, what kind of idiot defending is that? I'm sure he didn't word it like that, of course, but you know what I'm saying. I want an Ivan Toney in there who's a bit horrible. He obviously wound up Arteta in the All or Nothing documentary with that tweet when he said, nice kickabout with the boys. I like all that. Characters, you need that. I don't want soft. We've been soft. We've seen it. That's probably why we didn't get over the finish line. We need to be a bit nastier. We do. And for me, that's the kind of signing we should go for. Arsenal need to get it right this summer. They need to. They need to. And we need to finish this season well. We need a good run in the Champions League. We got to get to, you got to be pushing the latter stages of that competition, and we need to hang in that title race until the end. If you can get Partey back and you get Timber back, all of a sudden, maybe we look like a different team. And then Tomiyasu to come back as well. I think that competition finishes next week. Iona said, Big C, you should do an episode talking about potential players leaving this summer. Nelson, Eddie, Marquinhos, Fabio, Oneni. Definitely. Listen, transfer window closes today. I will be doing content, looking ahead. Who should we buy this summer? Who should we get rid of? And all of those guys you've just named, I would probably get rid of all of them, to be honest. Every single one of them I would get rid of. Nelson, for me, is not going to make it at Arsenal. When he got the new contract, I thought, you know what, you'll see him get a lot of game time now he's on a wage of that size. I still don't think Nelson is going to make it at Arsenal because he doesn't play. I don't think he trusts him. I think he gave him that deal just to tick the British quota that you need. And Marquinhos is being linked with a move again. I think they'll get rid of him. Final story of the day anyway, before we round up. Is this man going to be back on Sunday? The General, Thomas Partey. He's trained all week, apparently. He's trained all week, and he wasn't available against Forest due to lack of match fitness. Now, he trained from the back end of last week. He's had all week to train this week. We don't play until Sunday as well. It's only Thursday now, so he's got another couple of days. I would imagine he would have played either a behind closed doors game or a training game, surely they would have done some sort of match situation for him to get some fitness under his belt. He has been out for nearly 4 months, so obviously it's a slow burner. They're not going to want to risk him, but I don't see why he wouldn't be on the bench on Sunday. He's not going to start, of course. I mean, SLD said Partey returns, Ben White's nervous. We do not want to see this guy at right back ever again. He needs to be on the bench. He has to be involved. I mean, there was people complaining amongst the Ghana national team saying he should have gone to AFCON. There were rumours that he's been fit for a number of weeks. Maybe Arsenal played a bit of a masterstroke there to keep him, but if he's not in the squad for Sunday, I will be extremely surprised. I don't see how he isn't if he's trained all week with the team. He needs to play. Even if you bring him on, I genuinely believe, and I don't say this about many players at Arsenal, an informed Thomas Partey is a game changer. He is an absolute game changer. I said the other week, I think Declan Rice has been absolutely brilliant for us this season. But I think when Partey's fit, we go to a different level because, as Lambert says, those passes where he breaks the lines, I still think what you see with Declan Rice, and I don't want to take anything away from him, because Declan Rice has been one of our players of the season, along with the two centre-backs, Gabriel and Saliba. I think Declan Rice gets the ball, controls it, looks up, plays the pass. Sometimes that's too slow. Partey gets the ball, he knows where the pass is, he plays the ball and breaks the lines. Now, I think it will take Declan Rice time to add that sort of pass to his game, because what you've got to think, Declan Rice played centre-back a lot of the time in the youth team. So he's not a natural midfielder. And also, he's been raised by David Moyes. David Moyes is not exactly known for amazing football and learning players how to play that sort of system. Thomas Partey's come up at Atletico Madrid under Simeone, where they're brilliant on the ball. They have to play the ball forward quickly. I'm just so desperate to see Partey, Rice, Odegaard, midfield three, to see what happens to Rice with Partey next to him. I think he goes to a different level. But we'll see. I don't think he's going to play on Sunday from the start. Can we get him on the bench? Maybe get him on for 20 minutes. And then the week after, we play West Ham, which is another tough game away from home. I mean, Sam says Rice is better. I would say Rice is probably better at winning the ball, but I think Partey's better on the ball. That would be my sort of assessment of it. But listen, they both play for us. Regardless of who you think's better, I want to see them both playing in the team together. That's when I think we can go to another level. AMSN said, players who play in La Liga know how to pass. Well, you have to. That's 90% of their game. Rice is a runner, which we do need. If you got Partey in the 6 role, breaking play up, progressive passes, then you've got Rice's energy. You know, I think Rice, when he came to Arsenal, thought, I'm going to get forward, I'm going to score more goals, I'm going to be a box-to-box player. But he's had to sit there and be a 6 because Partey hasn't been there. And he's had 2 attacking midfielders in front of him. So 4 months, Thomas. Stay fit for 4 months. You're right. That's all we're asking for. Please, stay fit until the end of the season. Do what you want after that. Go Saudi and get the bag. Go Juventus and play in Italy. Do what you want. Just give us 4 months and see what we can do. That's all we're asking for. Probably 15, 16 games in the league. But we'll see. I think Rice and Partey would be a fantastic partnership, by the way. So let's see. It could be a massive boost. Rumours that Jurrien Timber will be back in training by the end of this month with a potential to be back in the squad sometime in March. So that would be great. HR said, will Liverpool win a quadruple? Personally, I think they'll win the Carabao Cup. I think they'll beat Chelsea in the final. I think they'll win the Europa League. I think they'll win that. I don't think many good teams came out of the Champions League. I think they'll win the Europa League. FA Cup, yeah, they're more City you would expect to win the FA Cup. So they got a chance, 50-50, I would say, on the FA Cup. Premier League, I would still make Man City the favourites just because I look at City and I think City are 5 points behind Liverpool with a game in hand, right? They win that game in hand, it's 2 points. They've played half a season without Kevin De Bruyne. He's their best player. And they've had no Haaland for 2 months. You put Haaland and De Bruyne in that team, I think City are capable of going 15 games without losing. So I still make Man City the favourites for the Premier League, but you never know. You never know. Like you said, Liverpool, they're going to run through a brick wall for Jurgen Klopp. Liverpool-Leverkusen final, and funnily enough, the Leverkusen manager, Xabi Alonso, will probably end up getting the Liverpool job. I think when City really gets to crunch time, they're going to start ripping teams apart, with Haaland and De Bruyne. But listen, people, thank you very much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Listen, it's a shame. It's transfer deadline day, but, it's just Thursday at Arsenal. To be fair, not even just Arsenal. This whole transfer window has been the worst January window we've ever seen. This profit and sustainability thing has killed any big signings. Just to give you a bit of insight, tomorrow, 12 p.m. UK time tomorrow, Turkish and Curtis show is back. That's over on Turkish's channel. Make sure you check that out. 12 p.m. tomorrow. We'll be looking ahead to the Liverpool game, looking back on the Forest game, and some other stuff on there. So tune in for that. I'll be back on here tomorrow at 2 p.m. UK time as well. On Saturday, I'll have an Arsenal-Liverpool preview. And then on Sunday, it will be the watch-along an hour before kickoff. Arsenal against Liverpool. Biggest game of the season. It's an absolute monster of a game. And for me, it's win or bust. If we draw or lose, I think the title race is done and dusted for us. And it's a case of getting top 4. If we win, we're right back in it. So listen, 12 p.m. tomorrow. Turkish and Curtis show on Turkish's channel, 12 p.m, 2 p.m. back here. Saturday, the preview. Sunday, the watch-along. And hopefully, no Arsenal therapy on Monday. Enjoy your Thursday, people, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bless!